My depressing life with a narcissist. I was so happy when I met her. She was gorgeous, funny, and intelligent, and I couldn't believe my luck when she showed an interest in me. We started dating and quickly became inseparable. We had a lot of fun together, and I loved being around her. But over time, things started to change. She became more critical of me and seemed to find fault with everything I did. If I made a mistake, she would blow it out of proportion and make me feel like a terrible person. She would constantly put me down for the smallest things. She'd tell me that I wouldn't wash the dishes the right way, that I was not studying effectively, that I should have approached my work situation in a different manner, that I shouldn't eat certain things if I wanted to be healthy. She'd call me irrational and crazy. She would compare me to people she would see on TikTok and ask why I couldn't be more like the guys on there. It always had to be done her way, because if not, I should expect to be told something. I started to feel like I was walking on eggshells around her, afraid to say or do anything that would set her off. It wasn't just the criticism though. She also seemed obsessed with herself, and everything had to be about her. If I tried to talk about something that was bothering me, she would turn it around and make it all about her. About how me feeling anyway was not taking her selfish feelings into consideration. I started to feel like I didn't matter, like my feelings didn't count. Things came to a head when we went on a vacation together. We were driving to our hotel when we got lost, and I made a wrong turn. She immediately flew into a rage, screaming and swearing at me. It was like she was a completely different person, and I was terrified. I tried to talk to her, but she wouldn't listen. She just kept yelling and bad-mouthing me, calling me stupid for not paying attention to the map. That was the moment when I realized that something was seriously wrong. I started to research narcissism and discovered that she had all the signs. She was self-centered, lacked empathy, and needed constant admiration and attention. It was a difficult realization to come to, but it was also a relief. I finally had a name for what I was experiencing, and I knew that I wasn't alone. I reached out to a therapist I found on Facebook and started to talk through my feelings. This was one of the best things that had happened to me. Someone was finally listening to me. Over time, I started to see the manipulation and gaslighting for what it was. She would twist my words and make me doubt my own memory and sanity. She would tell me that I was overreacting or being too sensitive. It was like she had me under her spell and I didn't know how to break free. But eventually, I started to stand up for myself. I would call her out on her behavior and refuse to let her gaslight me. I started to set hard boundaries and demand respect. It wasn't easy, and there were times when I wanted to take back what I said or just stay quiet during arguments. But I knew that I couldn't live like that anymore. I knew it wasn't healthy. Then one day, we got into a huge fight. She was accusing me of something that I hadn't done, and I'd had enough. I stood up for myself and refused to back down. She tried to manipulate me, but I was fed up. In the end, I told her that I was done and that I couldn't be in a relationship with someone who treated me that way. Leaving her was one of the hardest things I've ever done. The courage and confidence that I had to build involved planning how I would handle the apartment lease we shared. It involved logically thinking about why I was cutting it off and convincing myself over and over again that I was making the right decision. And even after all of that, it was like I was mourning the loss of the person I thought she was. But I ultimately knew that if I wanted to grow, this was not going to be the environment I was going to be able to do that in. So that meant cutting ties with someone who was toxic. It's been a long road to recovery, but I'm in a much better place now. I've learned a lot about narcissism and how to spot the warning signs. I've also learned to value myself and my feelings. I'm glad that I didn't let the thought of being alone terrify me into thinking for myself.